Hello students, today we'll continue with the chapter transpiration. We already started this on the class we had that day, so we'll continue with it. So as you know that for example this is a plant, it has got some roots. The purpose of roots is to absorb water, and they do it for whole day long. They continue to absorb water, but plant cannot take so much of water, so it has to continue the it has to lose the excess water, so it do that in the form of transpiration. Okay, transpiration is that process in which plant loses excess of water from its aerial parts. Do not forget this word aerial, the upper parts of the plant, the outer edges of the plant. So we did that day some of the experiments to prove transpiration, right? And we also measured the rate of transpiration, that how much transpiration has taken place. Today we'll continue with the kinds of transpiration. Kinds of transpiration. There are three types of transpiration. Three types. Number one is stomatal transpiration. Number two is cuticular transpiration, and number three is lenticular transpiration. Stomatal transpiration is that which occurs through the stomata. We all know what is stomata. We have been listening to this word since ages. So stomata are the small openings or the small pores which are present on the leaves. They are the small, minute, very small openings which are present on the leaves. So most of the water, the excess water, it leaves the plant through these leaves. Leave the plant means to get rid of, to just get away from the plant in the form of vapors, of course, and most of these vapors exit the plant in the form of vapors from the pores which are present in the leaves, these leaves of the plant. Another one is cuticular transpiration. Cuticular transpiration occurs through cuticle. Now let me tell you what is cuticle. Let me draw you the internal structure of the leaf. Leaf, as our skin, has the outermost epidermis. The plants, every part of the plant also has a layer known as epidermis. Okay. Now covering this epidermis, there is one more layer, a waxy layer, wax-like layer, which is known as cuticle. Actually, this layer is present in the leaves in order to prevent evaporation, so that the water does not get away from the plant, so that the plant cannot lose water in the form of evaporation, but still some of evaporation occurs, and that evaporation also leads to transpiration. And which transpiration? Cuticular transpiration. Why cuticular? Because it is getting off the plant via cuticle. Right? What is cuticle? The waxy layer which is present on the outer surface of the leaf. It is present above, it is present below as well. Right? Next, the last is lenticular transpiration. Lenticular transpiration occurs through the lenticels or the lenticels. Lenticels. Now what are lenticels? Lenticels are openings which are present on woody stem. You know, the plants, when they get old, they get woody stem, and that stem has some openings. These openings are called lenticels. So mainly three types of transpiration. Stomatal, the one which occurs through stomata, that is through the leaves. Next is cuticular, that occurs through the cuticle, which is a waxy layer present on the stem. and the surface of the leaves as well. And lenticular is that transpiration which exits the plant through lenticels. And what are the lenticels? They are the openings which are present on the woody stem. Remember, they are not present in the young green stem but in the woody stem, the one that has turned old, right? And also remember this thing that lenticels are those openings which remain open forever. They do not close. Okay, but the stomata, these openings often closes and opens depending upon the situations. Now, before going in detail, let me tell you how does transpiration occurs. We'll deal with stomatal transpiration mainly because most of the water is leaving the plant through stomata only. Cuticular and this lenticular transpiration is playing a very little role. Alright, so the question is how? How is this transpiration occurring? Which transpiration we are talking about? We are talking about stomatal transpiration. How is it occurring? Let us discuss that. So basically, as I told you that stomata, we also call them stomatal pores, they are present on the leaves, right? On the which part of the leaf? Again, let me draw you small structure here. As I told you, the outer layer is epidermis, right? Outside the epidermis is present a layer known as cuticle. Now, there's some other cells also. I'll name them one by one. This is the internal structure of the leaf. Then again, epidermis on the lower side. And again a cuticle on the lower side. Now this is known as upper epidermis. Upper epidermis. This is known as lower epidermis. Lower epidermis. Now these names are new for you. These cells are known as mesophyll. Now mesophyll is also having two types. Their name is palisade mesophyll. Palisade mesophyll. And these cells are known as spongy mesophyll. Spongy mesophyll. Now this is the internal structure of the leaf. When we cut open a leaf and then we visualize it under the microscope, this is what it looks like. It has the upper epidermis above which cuticle is present, then it has palisade mesophyll cells, spongy mesophyll cells, and in between these cells there is an empty space known as intercellular space. Intercellular space. So what happens basically, as we know, there is a plant, right? It has roots. Roots absorb water. The water travels upward. The water enters the leaf. Now, when it enters the leaf, it enters here in the palisade mesophyll. Then it travels to the spongy mesophyll. And then it comes in this empty space known as intercellular space. From here, it leaves the plant or the leaf via stomata. So where is the stomata present? It is present in the epidermal layer, in the epidermis. Remember the structure of stomata? One small pore surrounded by bean-shaped guard cells. This is the very basic structure. So here is present stomata, that is opening. It is guarded by these bean-shaped cells. So when water enters here, the intercellular space, it then travels or enters into these guard-shaped cells. What happens to guard-shaped cells is they swell up. And when they swell up, the Stomata opens, and when stomata opens, the water leaves. The water is gone. Alright, so this is the basic answer of how is transpiration happening. Water is entering the plant, roots are absorbing the water, a lot of water they are absorbing, whole day long they are absorbing the water. Now this water travels upward via xylem. When it enters the leaf or the leaves, here is what is happening. There are various types of cell inside. The water enters the palisade mesophyll, then the spongy mesophyll, then this empty space known as intercellular space, then it enters the guard cells opens up and the the guard cells swell up and the stomata opens and water leaves the plant. Alright? So, remember this thing that stomatal transpiration is contributing way more as compared to cuticular and lenticular transpiration. Lenticular and cuticle hardly 1 or 2%, but the rest of the 98% water that plant is getting rid of is going via stomata. Alright, it's the major transpiration that is happening inside the plant. Now next is about leaves. Okay, here I mentioned that stomata, I draw the stomata region in the lower epidermis. However, they are present on the upper epidermis as well, but leaves has two surfaces, above and below, right? Upper surface has very less number of stomata as compared to the lower surface. Okay, upper surface has very less number of stomata as compared to the lower surface. That is why here and in your book as well they have drawn this lower stomata. And if you want to prove this, that the leaf is having more number of stomata on its lower edge, you can prove that as well by using cobalt chloride paper. Now you might remember what is cobalt chloride paper. Cobalt chloride paper, it changes its color when it comes across the moisture. So basically the cobalt chloride paper is blue when it is dry and it turns into pink when it gets along with the moisture or water. It gets wet in the presence of water or moisture. Okay, so now you can take a plant, select its leaf. Okay, do not pluck the leaf should remain attached with the plant in order to prove this experiment. What are we proving? That the lower surface of the leaf is having more number of stomata as compared to upper surface. Okay, now place a cobalt chloride paper on the upper surface and place a cobalt chloride paper on the lower surface. Keep the plant for few hours or minutes, half an hour, and so on. What will you observe is that the cobalt chloride paper which is attached with the lower surface of the leaf will turn pink first or faster as compared to the cobalt chloride paper which is attached with the upper part of the leaf. So obviously, why cobalt chloride paper which is placed on the lower surface of the leaf turns pink faster? Obviously because more the number of stomata are present there. More the number of stomata, more water is coming out. More the water, more the moisture, the faster will this cobalt chloride paper turn into pink, right? So always remember this. In case of dorsiventral leaves, leaves are having two surfaces, upper and lower, of course. Upper surface has way much lesser number of stomata, while the lower surface has greater number of stomata, alright? So more transpiration occurs from the lower leaf, lower part of the leaf or lower surface of the leaf. Alright? Now, what do you think? This transpiration we are saying that it is happening inside the plant, the water is leaving the plant. Do you think transpiration continues for the whole day long? How long is transpiration occurring? For how much time? Which part of the day it is happening? Now remember that it does not continue day and night because it completely depends upon what? When are your stomata opening? When are your stomata or stomatal pores opening? Whenever the stomata will open, only then water will be able to leave. If this is closed, water will remain inside the plant, right? So, what is controlling transpiration is your stomata, alright? And what is controlling stomata? Amount of water. So transpiration कदों होएगी? When? It depends upon when the stomata will open. And stomata कदों open होंगे? That depends upon the amount of water inside the plant कितना है. How much amount of water is present inside the plant? That will decide when the transpiration will take place, right? When the stomata will open. Okay. So if by any chance there is much low amount of water inside the plant, then stomata will not open. And if stomata will not open, transpiration will not occur. That means plant is safe, right? So, you might have observed this thing, maybe or maybe not, but there are some plants which wilt murjha jande ne in the afternoon, while they get again normal in the evenings. There are number of plants, even your balsam. So why they wilt in the afternoon? Because even though there is much of the water present, there is there is no such shortage in water. The water is present. They are absorbing the water. The roots are absorbing water. But what is happening is, because of the sunlight, it is afternoon. Imagine 12 noon going out, your body evaporates, right? So same is happening in the plant. Transpiration is occurring very fast. बहुत ज़्यादा transpiration हो रही है, and transpiration is way much more than the plant is absorbing water. जितना absorb हो रहा है उसको कितने ज़्यादा transpiration हो रही है. So plant is getting short of water because more water is leaving the plant. So in the afternoon, some of the plants wilt, while evening, when there is not so much sunny outside, they again regain their water and they just turn out into normal. Alright? So as we discussed, kinds of transpiration today, there are 3 kinds. Number 1 was stomatal transpiration. Next is your cuticular. And the last is your lenticular. The one that is occurring through stomata, the one that is occurring through cuticle, and the one that is occurring through the lenticels. Alright, that's all for today, and we'll continue with the rest of the chapter in the next class. Thank you.